Today we're heading to Modern to double reanimate and maybe win the game on turn 2 with the help of Djeru and Hazoret. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Ado About Nothing. And today we are continuing our exploration of March of the Machines in Modern, playing some Djeru and Hazoret double reanimator essentially. This deck is pretty interesting, and when we get our best draws, we can win the game as early as turn 2. So let's talk about the deck, what it's trying to do, jump into a league, see it in action. So we're built around the new mom rare Djeru and Hazoret. It's a 5-mana 5/4 human god, blah 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 blah. Gets haste and vigilance if we have one or less cards in hand, so for heck bent essentially. Most importantly, when it attacks, we can snag a legendary creature from our top 6 cards, and until end of turn, we can cast that card for free. That's the big ability on this card for our deck. So what are we trying to do with Djeru and Hazoret, and what are we trying to do with this deck? Well, first off, we're a reanimator deck, so step 1 is be able to get things in the graveyard. For this, we have Insolent Neonate, Valerian Epicure, Underworld Cookbook. Asmore is kind of part of this package. If we can discard a card, we can play our Asmore, and then Asmore can get Underworld Cookbook to let us discard other cards. Street Wraith also works with this because we can cycle it to get Asmore into play on turn 1 to get the Cookbook. So these cards let us start filling our graveyard as early as turn 1 or turn 2, which is key to our deck because we want to be super duper fast. Our main goal is to get Djeru and Hazoret in the graveyard and use Goryo's Vengeance to reanimate it with haste. So we can do this on turn 2. We get the hasty attack with Djeru and Hazoret. When we attack with Djeru and Hazoret, we're hoping to really hit an Atraxa or an Emrakul, these huge legendary creatures. Also very important to point out here, the way Djeru and Hazoret is worded, it lets us cast the card that it exiles. So if we hit an Emrakul with Djeru and Hazoret, we actually get its cast trigger, get an extra turn, and that's how we can win the game on turn 2. I guess technically it's turn 3 because Emrakul gives us an extra turn, and then we attack and annihilate our opponent. But 5 from Djeru and Hazoret, and then 15 from Emrakul and annihilating your board, that is game over on turn 2. So that is the goal of the deck, and Djeru and Hazoret is really interesting in this deck. Of course, because Atraxa and Emrakul are legends, we can also just discard them and reanimate them on turn 2. Emrakul, I know, shuffles back in, but since Goryo's Vengeance is an instant, we can reanimate it with its shuffle back into the library trigger on this deck. So Djeru and Hazoret, it gives us the double reanimation line essentially, where we reanimate it, and then it finds something else huge. So we kind of get the 2-for-1. The other thing Djeru and Hazoret does, which really changes the equation in Reanimator, is it gives us a way to sneak an Emrakul or Atraxa into play if we can't use our graveyard. So our main plan is really graveyard dependent, but most modern decks are going to have Endurance or Rest in Peace or name a graveyard hate spell. Everyone's playing some kind of graveyard hate. So especially in game 2 and game 3 after sideboarding, we're going to expect that our opponent is going to bring in some hate to shut down our graveyard. While that doesn't mean we necessarily will lose to it, like our opponent could not draw it, it's possible we could just be fast enough to get around it. But the big thing that Djeru and Hazoret does is when our opponent brings in that graveyard hate, we kind of shift gears, and instead of trying to fill our graveyard super quickly and get this Djeru and Hazoret into play to get something else into play, we shift gears into the let's just hard cast Djeru and Hazoret. Let's empty our hand, get heck bent so we only have 1 card in hand, get up to 5 mana, cast Djeru and Hazoret, get in the hasty attack, and hopefully cheat an Emrakul and Atraxa into play that way. So not only is it really powerful with our main reanimation plan, it's also kind of this weird take on like a through the breach effect that in a lot of ways is better because it digs to our deck to find our big finisher that lets us beat graveyard hate as well. Otherwise, Wishclaw Talisman just adds consistency. One of the biggest downsides of the deck is we only have 4 Goryo's Vengeances to reanimate, so Wishclaw Talisman, it's essentially extra copies, and then we got 1 Krakenwood Cremator, which is like plan C, I guess. Like if everything else goes wrong, our graveyard gets shut down, we can't win by putting a hasty Djeru and Hazoret into play and cheating something else into play, we can always try to like tutor up an Emrakul and play a Cremator and then discard the Emrakul and 15 you and win the game that way, kind of like the Yargle deck we played a little while ago. Like same idea there. As far as our mana base, Urza Saga, kind of the most notable land. It can tutor up some of our discard outlets like Underworld Cookbook, so very powerful there, and like Plan D, I guess, as we can always make constructs. In the sideboard, more Cremators to beat the graveyard hate, a bunch of discards, some removals, some hate cards, and that is Djeru and Hazoret double reanimator for Modern. That's our Bunch of Brew deck for today, so let's jump into a league and see just how good Djeru and Hazoret can be. Can we get some turn 2 wins? How consistent are we? What ridiculous things can the new god do? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some March of the Machines cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/MTG Goldfish. Much brew about nothing time. We are, the nut draw we are keeping. We are trying to double reanimate with Djeru and Hazoret. This is the dream. Arid Mesa, crack it. Sacred Foundry untapped. Insolent Neonate. Do we Djeru and Hazoret? Oh, they could have Spell Pierce, I guess. Do we Djeru and Hazoret, or do we Atraxa? All right, opponent's gonna bolt. We gotta spin it to win it. We gotta spin it to win it. Discard the Djeru and Hazoret. We're going for it. Good choice, bad choice. We will find out. Please don't punish us for this, Magic Gods. Goryo's Vengeance, Djeru and Hazoret. Attack. Spin it to win it. We be good. That's an Emrakul. Emrakul, yeah. Turn to win. That is the power of Djeru and Hazoret. That is the power of Djeru and Hazoret. Yup. And we will take another turn because Djeru and Hazoret's pretty busted, and we will annihilate you. And well, opponent's gonna let us do it. Okay. Flawless victory. Flawless victory. Oh, opponent scooped. It was a flawless victory though. They would have had to sack. All right, that was good. That's the upside to this deck. The upside of this deck is when we have our best draws, we win on turn 2, which is very powerful. Springleaf Drum down, Wishclaw down, one Epicure down. Inquisition's Thought Seizes in. Is Terminate even fast enough to matter against a turn 1 Ragavan? I'm not sure that it is. Let's keep the Epicure. Epicure at least can block. Let's run it like that. So our goal is to mulligan pretty aggressively to find our combo. Oh, we should have probably brought in Nile Spellbomb, I guess. I don't know. They're probably Murktide, but who knows? So we will mulligan. This hand, I guess, tries to hardcast Djeru and Hazoret after our speech about mulliganing aggressively. I mean, we mulligan kind of aggressively, right? Well, Bloodstained Mire, crack it. I think we get a basic Swamp. Blood Moon is a possibility. Inquisition of Kozilek. We do want to watch out for Blood Moon. Blood Moon could get us. So Expressive Iteration is the strongest card, but Dress Down is the card that beats us. I think we take Dress Down. Yeah, we're gonna take the Dress Down. That's the card that just fizzles our entire game plan. Making our stuff lose abilities is so sad. I mean, it's also possible that our opponent doesn't draw a red source for a minute. Also possible they draw Blood Moon and we just lose. Opponent passes. We draw. Opponent draws, then we draw. Thought Seize. Well, okay. We will continue to attack the hand. Can we beat a Murktide Regent? Probably not. So I guess we have to take the Murktide. Players of Saga. This does mean our opponent's going to get to Expressive Iteration, which is not great. Although they probably won't do it this turn. So I guess we could draw even more discard. Spire Bluff. This turn is pretty bad because you can't hit the land drop. All right, opponent passes. We draw. Wishclaw Talisman. Well, so if we play Wishclaw, it's going to get spell snared. Let's Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. I think we just make a construct. Oh, all right. Well, let's see what happens. Wow, still not Expressive Iterationing. Interesting. Untapped. I'm kind of surprised. I assume that was the turn where our opponent would Expressive Iteration, but apparently not. Yeah, I guess we just take a Mountain. If we get Blood Moon, it doesn't really matter anyway. Make a construct. Untap. Make a construct. Tutor up a cookbook. This is another reason to get rid of the Dress Down. Like, the Dress Down does pretty much just destroy this game plan. Opponent. Unholy Heat with 4 card types. Okay. Well, I guess that's the downside of the Thought Seizing. Sacred Foundry tapped. From turn 1, we said this might be a hardcast Djeru and Hazoret game, and it's sort of looking like that's a possibility. That gets around Spell Snare and Force Negation. We'll see. At some point, our opponent's gonna do some digging. Looks like now. All right, there's the iteration. Takes a Misty, plays the Misty. Opponent going to pass the turn. Draw Neonate. Wishclaw Talisman. I'm assuming this gets countered. Opponent's got to spend that Spell Snare on something. All right, opponent Spell Snare, so we will Insolent Neonate. Blood Moon this turn would be very sad. So opponent's hand, we know there's a Force of Negation. I guess that's all we know. Down to 16. Godless Shrine tapped past the turn. Next turn, we might be able to spin it to win it. Opponent. Steam Vents tapped. No Blood Moons. Ledger. Shredder. Okay. And a land. Wow, so it's Force of Negation in one unknown card? I mean, we're gonna go for it. They could have another Unholy Heat style effect. Marsh Flats. Crack it. Thin the deck. Grab the last blood crit. I mean, here goes nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and also 5. Djeru and Hazoret. Does not get Force of Negation. Go to combat. Do you have... Oh, they have removal? Why are they cracking the land? Okay, opponent's just gonna bounce it. That's actually fine. Actually, let's attack and attack. If our opponent blocks, we'll discard the land. Actually, we probably do. You can't block that. That is menace opponent. That is not a legal target. Opponent's gonna take it. You know what? I think we discard the land anyway. Discard the land, make a food, grow the construct, hit ya. All right, so opponent's got a top deck. Opponent must top deck or else we get to Djeru and Hazoret next turn. Hopefully it's not a Blood Moon or an Expressive iteration. Those would be the scariest. I guess a Ragavan's like sort of annoying. Dash it in, steal something. We draw Agorio's Vengeance. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and also 5. Djeru and Hazoret. Okay, Brazen. Are they trying to connive? Is that the plan? All right, go to combat. Oh my God, we get the swing. Come on, Djeru and Hazoret. Come on, Djeru and Hazoret. All right, well, we'll take an Asmore. Not a full whiff, but not the I win either. Opponent blocks, loses a Ledger Shredder. We will Asmore and pass the turn. Well, the hardcast plan actually worked, and opponent scoops it up. Oh, okay, that was a good one. Well, we know that I guess it's actually possible to go on the hardcasting plan. Our hand was not good at reanimating, but Djeru and Hazoret getting the job done, even with the whiff. It's still a hasty 5/4, hasty vigilant 5/4 that gives you an Asmore. That's still a fine card. It's not the turn 2 dream we saw last game, but yeah, sweet. This is some high variance magic for sure. Hollowed Fountain. Well, it should be interesting. Opponent appears to be a control deck. Now, Bloodstained Mire. Correct, Bloodstained Mire. Grab a Blood Crypt untapped. Play an Insolent Unit. I do like this, the Street Raid art. Opponent, Urza Saga. And, well, maybe they're not. Oh, they're a Stoneblade deck. Okay. Well, this means we're gonna have to do something impactful very quickly, especially with this Saga probably getting graveyard hate. That's a concern. Oh, it's okay. It's hammer time. We draw. Well, let's play Urza Saga, cycle Street Wraith, Wishclaw Talisman, and pass the turn. In theory, we get to reanimate something next turn. We'll see if it happens in practice. Opponent, Flooded Strand. Cracks Flooded Strand. Are we dead? Springleaf Drum. Wow, are they playing counters? They could be playing counters. We draw. Sacred Foundry. I mean, the question is, do we go for it? I mean, we have the pseudo win in hand. They don't usually, they might have counters. Sometimes they play like, it really depends on the build. Occasionally you see like a couple of Spell Pierces. Not consistent. Some decks play 2 Spell Pierces, some don't. I don't think we can play this deck Afraid, so Wishclaw Talisman. We got, if they have it, they have it. Get Agorio's Vengeance. Sacrifice Insolent Unit. Discard the Emrakul. Agorio's Vengeance, the Emrakul. Pray for no Spell Pierces. Okay, Stoneforge, doesn't really matter. It adds a permanent to the battlefield, but they'd still have to sack it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I can keep 1 permanent? If this works, they don't have a counter. It's basically game. It would have been fun to go for Djeru and Hazoret, but I don't think we can. I mean, I think we have to annihilate them here, unfortunately. Opponent's gonna make a construct? I mean, I don't think any of this actually matters. All right, we get the Emrakul. It's a neonate. We annihilate you. They're gonna keep a single land, the Hollowed Fountain, I guess. All right, that's not bad. I mean, bad for our opponent, not bad for us. And opponent realizes, yeah, there's no overcoming that quick of an Emrakul. So we gotta assume there's some graveyard hate. Maybe we go Cremators. The discard could be at least somewhat helpful, like the Inquisitions maybe. Could also clear the way for us actually resolving something. Let's bring in 2 Inquisitions, bring in another Cremator, go down a Street Wraith, go down a Springleaf Drum, go down an Epicure. Do we need the Terminates? Perhaps. Let's go 2 Terminates, down 1 Wishclaw, and maybe the other Epicure. You know what, let's go one more Street Wraith. Let's try it like that. Well, game 1 went well. Game 1, we Emrakul'd him. Oh my God, that's a lot of Emrakuls. So this is the second triple Emrakul draw we've had this league. I mean, this will keep, although it's not ideal. This might be a Djeru and Hazoret kind of hand. Flooded Strand cracks it. Finding a way to get down Asmore would be nice. All right, well, we expected graveyard hate. This ain't, oh, that's actually a great draw. Cycle Street Wraith. This lets us get down the Asmore, which is sweet. Black Cleave Cliffs, and run out the Asmore. This might be a game where we actually get to see the upside of Djeru and Hazoret, which is getting around the graveyard. Dika Distika Kulidikar. Nailed it. We'll grab a Underworld Cookbook. So we're unlikely to be able to reanimate anything this game. Although Asmore is pretty good for sniping Springleaf Drum, for sniping Hammer Time creatures, I think. And plus we have the Terminate in hand, which is sweet. All right, opponent, March of Otherworldly Light. Opponent's playing Hammer Time Control over there. We will play a Swamp. I don't even think there's any reason to play the Cookbook. We're probably better off just leaving up the Terminate here. Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, I guess I can tutor. Opponent can still Spell Pierce off of Springleaf Drum, but we are going to try to kill it. Colossus Hammer. Actually, do we try to kill it? We probably do. Red and black. Terminate the Stoneforge. They could have Calder Complete. That's definitely a possibility. Opponent gonna exile. Ooh, actually, wait. If we draw a reanimation this turn, we get him. We could draw the Goryo's Vengeance here. All right, well, play the Blackleaf Glyphs, play the Underworld Cookbook. All right, so I guess our new plan is Djeru and Hazoret with haste, hopefully, if we're alive in 2 turns. We are kind of flooding into the spin it to win it. Opponent, Sigarda's Aid. Opponent, going to pass. Do we need to discard something this turn? We do want this to have haste. I think we wait. Urza's Saga. Ooh, more lands. Well, play Urza's Saga. Pass the turn. Yeah, maybe we should have discarded the Emrakul to get low enough on cards to give this haste. Flashes in a Shadow Sphere. Opponent's also low enough on cards that Cremator discarding Emrakul would get him. Giver of Runes. All right, that's gonna get big. Okay, take that up. Arid Mesa. I mean, how much removal can they possibly have? You know what? I think we're going for it. Crack it. We're gonna go for it. Come on, Djeru and Hazoret. Save us our friend. It's not gonna have haste, but that's okay. Sacred Foundry, untapped. Run out the Djeru and Hazoret. I mean, so our opponent can hammer on the giver and Shadow Sphere on the giver and hit us for a ton and gain a ton. So we might be in trouble. We'll see. We really need this spin to go well. And as we've seen so far, our Djeru and Hazorets have been a little whiffy. There's the hammer. I mean, if our opponent has double hammer, then we're dead. Ornithopter. Okay. Pure Steel Paladin. Okay, that's also pretty bad. And equips it and goes to combat. This Giver of Runes probably beats us, doesn't it? Because our opponent can equip on everything else. Yeah, I think we're gonna lose. No matter what we spin into, I think we still just lose. Opponent exiles a card from the graveyard. So I think what we need to do is draw Goryo's Vengeance. We need to have double. Oh, they still have the mana up. Opponent does not re-equip. Interesting. Let's see what we draw. We don't want Goryo's Vengeance. I take that back. Underworld Cookbook. Flow to mana. We gotta hit literally an Emrakul, right? It's gotta be an Emrakul. We make a construct. We cookbook. We discard to get the Emrakuls back in our deck. Get a cookbook. Discard an Emrakul. Shuffle it back into our deck, make a food. Discard an Emrakul. Shuffle it into our deck, make a food. So we can gain 3 from a food. Play the land. Oh, come on. Come on, Djeru and Hazoret. We need that Emrakul. We need that Emrakul. Okay, not an Emrakul, but that isn't a Troxa. So take a Troxa. The Asmore would actually, finding an Asmore would actually be good here because it would let us sack the food to kill the Pure Steel maybe, and then they can't equip. Well, all right, free Atraxa. Okay, we found the Asmore, that's good. Inquisition you. Take the Sigarda's Aid. Asmore. Oh, is this gonna be the win? Are we actually gonna do it? Get the last cookbook, and then we just sack 2 foods to kill the Pure Steel. Opponent floats a mana for, oh, they're gonna sack the Relic, I see. So I think this is okay. I think this keeps us alive. So we'll pass the turn. I mean, because they can't put the hammer on anything else, so we can just throw everything in front of this Giver of Runes. If they could have equipped for free, we're super dead. They just put it on Ornithopter and go protection. But I think we might have found a way. That is Djeru and Hazoret power. Uh-oh. Another hammer might get us if they just naturally draw another hammer. I mean, that was actually pretty sweet. That's kind of what you envision with this deck. Opponent goes to combat. How much do we have to block with? So if we block here, we go to 10 and then we take 5. What if they have another hammer? Then we go to 10, but take infinite. We really want to keep the, does this do anything? Okay, if we block like this, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This would be a 22, 22. Okay, let's block like this. This also has the upside of potentially killing the Giver of Runes. I also think I think it should mean we survive our opponent top decking a hammer here. And then we just go back to spin and to win. Wow, they did draw it. Oh, they're cracking the Relic. praise the magic gods. Okay, Atraxa down, but we're not dead. Opponent's at 32, but can they actually get back in the game? Because we have Djeru and Hazoret. We get to spin again. Marsh Flats, crack it, thin the deck, get a Blood Crypt tapped. Arid Mesa, play the Mountain, play the Cookbook, play the Wishclaw Talisman, discard the land, go to combat, I guess hit ya, spin it to win it, spin it to win it. Do we even take this? Probably no. We'll just leave it in the deck. All right, well, we hit our opponent a bit. Maybe just last turn was enough. That's all the goodness Djeru and Hazoret has in it for the moment. Well, we will pass the turn. Opponent cracks. Got him all the way back down to 20. Hollowed Fountain tapped. I mean, we're not literally dead on board, right? I wonder if it was too greedy to attack with the construct. We don't want to have to give up this Djeru and Hazoret. That's our one good card. All right, there's a Stoneforge. Well, that means a hammer's coming. Sure. I mean, I think we just take it and crack a food. So there's the hammer. Puts it on the Ornithopter. Well, Underworld Cookbook. Discard a Cookbook. Crack the food. Go up to 12. All right, down to 2 again. We're back to needing something. Hopefully the Djeru and Hazoret doesn't whiff again. All right, so we untap. Insolent Neonate. Does the Wishclaw do anything that matters? I mean, I guess we could get a removal spell if we had to, but that lets our opponent tutor again, which is awkward. Well, go to combat. I think we gotta leave back the construct this time. All right, swing with Djeru and Hazoret. Please no whiffing, please no whiffing. And take an Emrakul. Emrakul the Eon's Torn, and that should do it. Because remember, we actually get to cast it. That's one of the other sneaky upsides to Djeru and Hazoret. So we're gonna get the cast trigger. So we're gonna get the extra turn, and that should mean that we win the game. And well, we've had some hit or miss games with Djeru and Hazoret. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's horrible. This was one of the good ones, where it was able to pretty much let us beat Graveyard Hate that otherwise there is no way we would have beaten. No chance we were beating the Graveyard Hate without Djeru and Hazoret. Like, that's what this card does. It does something that otherwise our deck would not be able to do, and our opponent scoops it up. Oh, that was a good one. I was afraid we weren't going to see it. We've got to see, like, oh, we dealt some damage with Djeru and Hazoret. We got to see some whiffs with Djeru and Hazoret. But this is like, you draw up a reason why you play Djeru and Hazoret over something else in your deck, and this is basically it. Like, sneaking stuff into play with the opponent having the Graveyard Hate that otherwise would just absolutely wreck us, and getting the cast trigger out of Emrakul to close out the game without letting your opponent get to untap. So yeah, that was maximum value Djeru and Hazoret for sure. Oh, sweet. Opponent wins the die roll. So we have Emrakul. We have plenty of discard outlets, no reanimation. We do have a bunch of looting though. Is that enough of an upside for us to keep? Yeah, let's mulligan. Well, this is enough upside for us to keep. We will keep. We'll put a Cookbook to the bottom. So this isn't the like turn 2 win. It is turn 1 Asmore though, which is good. Asmore gets Cookbook off the Street Wraith, and then we're drawing live for the reanimation spell for the rest of the game. Opponent, hooray. Well, there's a Wishclaw. Well, actually, let's thin the deck. Marsh Flats, crack Marsh Flats. Grab a Blood Crypt. Cycle Street Wraith. Draw a Cookbook anyway. Should we just be cookbooking? Yeah, I guess we just cookbook, actually. This means if we just draw Goryo's Vengeance, we get to do it. Opponent. Another power plant. So the big problem we're going to have here is Little Karn shutting down artifacts, so you definitely got to be aware of that. Well, Godless Shrine untapped. Wishclaw Talisman. Pass the we need to draw land. If we draw land, we get to do it next turn. If we don't draw land, we're gonna get wrecked. Okay, just a simple land. That's all we need. A simple little land. Any land in our deck will do. Well, this is a bummer, but we need to Wishclaw Talisman, get the Goryo's Vengeance, play an Insolent Neonate, sack Outlet that doesn't get got by Karn. Our opponent gets to tutor though, which is bad. We will pass the turn. Yeah, if we hit a land there, we just straight up win. We annihilate all this away. As it is, our opponent gets to Expedition Map Tron and a tutor, so they can do literally anything they want. Well, I'm not liking our chances. This is unfortunate too, because Tron has a lot of Graveyard Hate after sideboarding, and going to tutor up something with the Wishclaw. Gives us back the Wishclaw, plays a Sundering Titan to blow up all of our lands. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but that is gonna be enough to do it, I think. Passes, we draw. Goryo's Vengeance. Discard a Wishclaw Talisman. Do not draw land. Scoop it up. What do we do about this? The problem here is, you know our opponent's going to have infinite graveyard hate now, and I don't know what we can do about that. We can try to Cremator. The only problem is, Tron doesn't lose any life. So a Cremator discarding Emrakul is not going to be lethal. We don't have Blood Moons. Terminate does nothing. I mean, I guess we could bring in Thought Seizes and try to Thought Seize the discard. I don't know how likely that is to actually work. Yeah, maybe something like this. Stack is like the epitome of high risk, high reward. The upside is absurd turn 2 double reanimation, Djeru and Hazoret Emrakul shenanigans. On the other hand, it is definitely a pretty pure combo deck where unlikely to win without those shenanigans. We have won some games by hardcasting Djeru and Hazoret, but that requires a game going pretty long. I assume our opponent saw enough of our deck to know to bring in a pile of graveyard hate. We get to play first, which is good. Bloodstained Mire, crack Bloodstained Mire, Blood Crypt, Insolent Unite. I mean, this is a turn 2 hand unless our opponent has hate. Expedition Map. Oh, the question is, what direction do we go? I mean, it's got to be Djeru and Hazoret, right? And just trust that it doesn't whiff. Discard Djeru and Hazoret. 2 Emrakuls in hand is not ideal. Those are 2 Emrakuls that are not in our deck. Goryo's Vengeance, Djeru and Hazoret. Go to combat, swing, and Stone Whiff. Now we lose. We did it. We did our thing, and it wasn't enough. That was very sad. That was the saddest. We draw another Djeru and Hazoret. Well, we said this deck is very high risk, high reward, and boy, did we see the high risk there. Oh, opponent's hand is busted. Well, we take Golos. Pass the turn. We're going down to a single land. The Emrakul, if it was 1 card lower in our library, we would have been putting into play with Djeru and Hazoret. I mean, that is kind of a low roll, right? So even with 2 Emrakuls in hand, 2 Emrakuls, 2 Atraxas, 3 Djeru and Hazorets, 4 Asmores. So we have like 11 hits. So getting literally nothing, I think, is pretty unfortunate. Our odds of hitting the literal I win Emrakul is also not like as high, but the odds of just like low rolling to that extent are pretty low. Expedition Map to assemble Tron. I mean, I guess we're not literally dead yet. So opponent gets Tron. They can Stone Brain at some point. We can Thought Seize the Sundering Titan. We're going to lose our land, which is not great. Okay, there's a Stone Brain. I guess at this point, we're almost hoping for naming of Emrakul since we have 2 in hand. Name's Goryo's Vengeance. We're not going to be reanimating anything. Oh, we got betrayed. We got betrayed by Djeru and Hazoret against Tron of all decks. Opponent, even more Expedition Maps. Land, maybe? We do draw land. Well, I mean, we might as well float a mana. I mean, discarding doesn't do anything anymore, so I guess we take Pithing Needle. Actually, maybe we gotta name Blast Zone. Play the land. Thought Seize our opponent. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to reassemble from... Oh, they drew another Sundering Titan, sure. This deck, I've never seen anything like it. Djeru and Hazoret in mulliganing in Modern. I mean, this we're keeping. Hopefully turn to something awesome. Maybe we actually put a Street Wraith to the bottom. Street Wraith. Actually, do we even Street Wraith? Maybe we just Underworld Cook. You know what? I think we just Underworld Cookbook first. This is the highest upside. So Underworld Cookbook, this means if we draw a land, we reanimate Djeru and Hazoret, spin it to win it, hopefully win the game. If we don't, then we'll go to plan B, and we get 2 shots at it because of the Street Wraith. Opponent gets in, hits us down to 17. Land. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, so, well, we're going to spin it to win it. We are going to spin it to win it. Marsh Flats. Crack Marsh Flats. Take a swamp to maintain our life total. Don't fail us now, Djeru and Hazoret. All right. Yes, please. Goryo's Vengeance. Oh, the moment of truth. It's hasty. We go to combat. We attack you. 6 cards deep. Well, we'll take another Djeru and Hazoret, I guess. One that will remain alive for next turn. Yeah, keep that one. Pass the turn. Well, we sort of whiffed, but we whiffed into another spin next turn, most likely. We are definitely not blocking, no matter what our opponent does. Yeah, not blocking that. Another Swift Spear and a Rift Bolt suspended. Okay, let's try this again. So we get to Planners of Saga, discard a Street Wraith, play an Asmore. Try this one more time. Yeah, that's a full whiff. Okay, yeah. That's fine. We didn't wanna actually hit an Emrakul and win the game there. That wasn't part of the plan. Opponent, Rift Bolt, going at our face. Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate. Down to 12. Opponent. We're gonna block 1. We can crack a food to gain some life. Opponent scoops. 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my god, 5. Oh goodness, we were gonna whiff again. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess we would have thinned the deck, right? So, well, Djeru and Hazoret. I mean, 5-4, it's a 5-4. Let's go down to Street Wraith for a Terminate, and then I guess we just run it like that. Well, there is a fizzle rate with Djeru and Hazoret, as we saw there. Like, it is possible. It is possible that we do everything and just no legend in the top 6. Possible. I mean, I guess the first one we hit another Djeru and Hazoret, so it wasn't the absolute end of the world. It was fine-ish, but it definitely wasn't an Emrakul or an Atraxa or something. On the draw versus Bird. Making food is pretty relevant. If we draw Goryo's Vengeance, we get to Emrakul, Blackleaf Cliffs, and Underworld Cookbook. Go. Passes. Okay. Even more lands. Discard one of our many lands. Mega Food. I mean, even just making food's kind of nice here. Playing Asmore. Get another cookbook. Well, I guess we're cooking. Now we're cooking. All right, Underworld Cookbook number 2. I mean, maybe we can just gain enough life with these cookbooks so we're fine. Boros charms us down to 16. Goryo's Vengeance. Well, go to combat. Hit you with Asmore. Play a Marsh Flats. And I think this cookbook's getting discarded now. Eventually, when our opponent's tapped out, we're probably going to start eating some food. Yeah, let's crack this. Then the deck. A Godless Shrine tapped. Oh my goodness, even more land. Oh my goodness, that's so many lands. Play a Marsh Flats. Pass the turn. What is our opponent's draw? What a weird way for this game to play out. Our opponent might be flooding out too. Lava spikes us down to 12. Skewer the critics us. Well, I think it's food cracking time. Opponent's going to crack the land, so we will crack Marsh Flats. We're going to get Skull cracked here. Get a Swamp. Discard a cookbook. Make a food. Crack a food. There's a Skull crack. So we drop to 11. We drop to 8. We draw Goryo's Vengeance. Actually, ooh, Wishclaw does it here too, doesn't it? We have so many lands. Street Wraith. Discard a Street Wraith. Discard a Bloodstained Mire. Crack a food. Oh, the Asmore way. Crack a food. Hit you for 3. We're going to play the Bloodstained Mire because we need one more land to just hardcast Djeru and Hazoret. Well, we're up to 14 for the moment. Opponent cracks the Sunbaked Canyon. Apparently just 2 cookbooks. Beats Bird. We are not doing anything exciting here. All right, smashes a cookbook. Well, we are doing a good job of thinning our deck. Sooner or later, we're accidentally going to draw action. Down to 10. Golly gee. Discard an Arid Mesa. Crack the food, back up to 13, hit you with the Asmore. We cannot have very many lands left in our deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There can't be many left. Insolent Neonate. Going to bolt the Asmore. Play the Neonate, so we still have our clock. Pass the turn. Passes. More Neonates. Hit you with the Neonate. Opponent goes to 5. Opponent untaps. We do need to start making food. Opponent's getting some cards in hand. Wow, opponent's drawing a lot of lands too, I will say. Discard a Neonate. Untap. There it is. There it is. Okay, 1, 2. I mean, we got to go for it. 3, 4, and 5. Djeru and Hazoret. Attack. An opponent. We don't even get to. Okay, what were we going to hit? Were we going to hit something big? 1, 2. Uh-oh. Now Moto stopped working. Okay, well, in that case, that was the weirdest game. We did nothing. Our burn opponent did nothing, except we had Underworld Cookbook and just gained so much life by discarding all of our flood out lands that it didn't matter. So far, the biggest upside to Djeru and Hazoret has just been hasty 5-4. Get them. Don't even need to spin into anything. Sweet. Got a lot of discard outlets. We have a Wishclaw up against Chingatha. We have ways to get things in the graveyard. In theory, Wishclaw Talisman can find us reanimation. So it seems like this could maybe work-ish. Bloodstained Maya. Dragon Rage Shanla. And the Mishra's Bauble to do the surveilling thing. Oh, okay. Boros, eh? So like a prowess deck maybe? Cracks the bobble, takes peek. Opponent passes. We draw. Asmore is good. Well, I guess we just, boy, do we want to keep this for the chance of janking them out? Cremator is probably the correct discard, right? I feel like there's a chance we end up in this desperation situation though. Well, first off, get in with a neonate. It has menace, so it's free damage. Drops to 18. I mean, I guess we can discard the cookbook because we get another one. Let's discard the cookbook. It's a land. Play Asmo. Play Godless Shrine. Play the cookbook. And pass the turn. We need a big thing and we need reanimation. Opponent going to kill the Asmore. Sure. Mills a land. Yep. Wow, opponent did that upkeep. They want the surveil, I guess. Down to 16. Atrox. Well, in that case, we will play a Wishclaw Talisman. Play a land. I don't really want to shock ourselves here. It seems a little greedy to play the neonate. I mean, in theory, next turn should be pretty good. Opponent. I mean, basically, we're hoping that a single Atroxa hit wins us the game. Opponent untaps. Gaining 7s. Oh, they have blue mana. Swift Spear. Underworld Breach. To recast the bobble? Does this kill us? I don't think it kills us, right? It's annoying. They get to recast the same bobble like 5. Oh. That kills us. Well, I did not exactly see this coming. Okay, I wasn't thinking we were dead this turn, but apparently we are. Anyone that tells you Modern is not a turn 3 format has not played Modern in many years. They're thinking of Modern from like 2015 or something. But I mean, this entire league, it's been a lot of decks that are trying to combo kill on turn 2 or turn 3. It's been basically it. So unfortunately, we didn't win that one, which means Graveyard Hate is a possibility. I guess we can bring in the Nile Spellbomb. I will say the Springleaf Drum has not been an impressive Magic card in our deck. I can imagine a situation where it's good, but boy, we have not seen that situation, like, at all. Yeah? I don't even know what you do about that. Like, we're gonna win on, or like, we're gonna Atroxa on turn, what? 4-3, but our opponent just had a combo kill on the turn before, so fair enough, Magic gods, fair enough. We will keep this. This hand's actually pretty sweet. Cycle a Street Wraith, play a Swamp, play Asmore, pass the turn. I mean, we have Goryo's Vengeance and Djeru and Hazoret, so we got a chance to spin it to win it on turn. I guess it'll be 3 passes. Well, I mean, go to combat. Sacred Foundry and what, Lightning Bolt? Yup. Well, we'll play the Cookbook. Godless Shrine tapped. Kenra Spell Spear. Okay. Well, here we go. It is our turn to try to do busted things. We untap. We draw Marsh Flats. Well, we will Marsh Flats. Crack Marsh Flats. Blood Crypt. Untap down to 15. Goryo's Vengeance. Get it back. Spin it to win it. Show us that Emrakul. Do we win? Yes. Okay. Well, there's an Emrakul. Opponent turn 3 combo killed us last game. We will return the favor this game. Good, clean Magic the Gathering here, folks. Interactive, back and forth. Opponent's on the plate for next game, and yeah, that means it might be their turn to kill us on turn 3. At least it wasn't turn 2. Only the Primeval Titan deck has killed us on turn 2 this league. I mean, I guess we played a couple of like long grindy games. Like the Hammer Time game was kind of a long grindy game, but in general, it has been a lot of quick ones. Maybe the Inquisitions are worth it. You want one more Epic here, one more Wishclaw? I am a little nervous about counters. That seems like a thing our opponent would potentially have in their sideboard at least. Ooh. Double Goryo's Vengeance. Boy, the best thing would just be drawing a discard outlet. That would be the most optimal. Steam Vents untapped. Soul Scar Mage, okay. Discard outlet, please. We did cut a couple discard outlets. Blackleaf Cliffs. Well, I guess we Urza Saga, pass the turn. Urza Saga can get us a discard outlet in the future. Is there a future? That's the real question. Do we die before the future comes? Oh my goodness, all the 1-drops in the world. Opponent gets in, hits us for 2. Okay. Bloodstained Mire while we take up the Saga. I guess play a Bloodstained Mire past the turn. Hey. Oh dear, there's a Manamorphose. Okay. Yeah. Triple trigger. Oh, if our opponent has a spell pierce, I'm gonna cry. Surveils away a land, draws a card. This might come down to a Djeru and Hazoret spin expressive iteration. Oh, please no spell pierces. Opponent. Gonna draw some cards. Mills an Unholy Heat. I mean, we're taking a big hit here, but we're not dead. Scalding Tarn. If they have a spell pierce, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep. Opponent hits us for 7. That mana being left up is a little scary. Opponent appears to be prepared. Suspicious and not in a good way. Godless Shrine. Draw even more lands. Float a mana. Get a cookbook. Discard Djeru and Hazoret. Play a Blackcleave Cliffs. This is, if they have it, they have it. There's nothing we can do about it, right? There's just nothing we can do. Gorya's Vengeance. They do have it. Okay. Well, that is what we were worried about. We will not pay the 2. We will play an Asmore. Yeah, I mean, I assume that's game. Opponent had the right card. They had the right card. Get the cookbook past the turn. Opponent taps. Seems unlikely that we are alive next turn. Even more expressive iterations. Well, even less likely now that our opponent has drawn another expressive iteration. Leaves a card on, oh boy, the odds are decreasing. Leaves the card on top. Finds a lightning bolt on our Asmore. Well, I assume this means they have some sort of free spell to pump for lethal. Mills a mutagenic growth. Show us that free spell. Jeez. Modern, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes you play Magic and sometimes you play something else. That was an interesting league, I will give it that. So what do we learn this week about Djeru and Hazoret double reanimator for Modern? And overall, I played 2 leagues with the deck. I played the first league. I went 2 and 3. Played against Is It Murktide 3 times. So I was like, I don't want to use all those matches. We want more diversity in that in our league. Plus, I wanted to see what would happen if I mulliganed more aggressively with the deck. I felt like in League 1, probably could have mulliganed more aggressively to try to get like the turn 2 reanimator draw. So I jumped into another league and mulliganed more aggressively and played against Is It Murktide less often, but went 2-3 again. So apparently it's just a 2-3 deck when I play it. And we really got to see this deck be super high risk and super high reward. Like when it works, it's kind of unbeatable. We have this turn 2, turn 3 nut draw that is going to beat pretty much anyone when we can pull it off and not get disrupted. On the other hand, we got to see the fail rate of the deck. We got to see it get disrupted. Sometimes we have the nut draw set up and our opponent just like spell pierces the Goryo's Vengeance. And we put so many cards and so much effort into getting our graveyard set up, finding the Goryo's Vengeance, that once that happens, we often can't really realistically rebuild in time, especially if we have to use Wishclaw Talisman. That's the worst, is when we have to like Wishclaw Talisman up the Goryo's Vengeance, and we go for it, and our opponent has the Pact of Negation against Belcher, or they have the Spell Pierce against an Izzet deck, and fizzles our combo, and then our opponent has the Wishclaw Talisman, which is never good news for us. So we saw that. The other fail rate in the deck is sometimes Djeru and Hazoret whiffs. Like, yes, it's always a hasty 5-4 if we reanimator to get low on cards, which is fine, but we certainly had games where we do all the work, we get the Djeru and Hazoret, we attack with it, and we see a pile of like 4 lands and a couple of Underworld cookbooks, and we're like, oh no. So even going 6 card deep, and even having a ton of legends in our deck, there are times when we do everything right, and our key card just sort of betrays us. Our Magic God literally betrays us. So all around, I think this deck easily can go 5-0 in a league. There's no doubt about it. The power level is super high. If you dodge the hate cards and have the good hands, the power level's off the charts. It just can win so quickly and does such powerful things. On the other hand, there is some low roll potential. Either your opponent having the disruption or Djeru and Hazoret kind of just failing on you. I will also say, I was really focused on trying to reanimate Djeru and Hazoret. There were times when, we could have just like reanimated an Atraxa, but instead of just reanimating the Atraxa, we would always go for Djeru and Hazoret, or almost always go for Djeru and Hazoret, because that's the card we're really trying to like check out and figure out how good it is and play with. In some of those cases, it's probably correct to like just do the boring thing and reanimate the Atraxa, or just do the boring thing and reanimate the Emrakul. And yes, it's not spicy or whatever. We've seen it before, but I mean, a hasty Emrakul or a hasty Atraxa probably just wins the game, so we probably cost ourselves a little bit by focusing so much on Djeru and Hazoret. I will say, though, we also got to see the upside. Even outside of just the super fast kills, we got to see Djeru and Hazoret letting us beat Graveyard Hate, which is one of the card's huge purposes. We got to see the games where we just like couldn't find the pieces to fill the graveyard or find the Goryo's Vengeance, and we just get up to 5 mana and cast a Djeru and Hazoret and cross our fingers and pray to the magic gods, and a lot of times that actually worked out. So I came away very impressed with Djeru and Hazoret, to the point where I kind of want to brew around it more at this point. This is a very dedicated combo-y all-in reanimator deck. I wonder if there's a way that we could do something similar with like a creature-heavy Eldritch Evolution deck to tutor up Djeru and Hazoret. I think there's other possibilities. What about combining Djeru and Hazoret with Winota maybe? They can find each other potentially. They kind of synergize well. So I think there's more options for Djeru and Hazoret that are certainly worth exploring, because we got to see that the card is really powerful. It's certainly risky. There's certainly times when it makes us very sad and we do all the work and it just fizzles in whiffs and we cry, but the power is high enough that I think it's definitely worth exploring more. So that is Djeru and Hazoret, double reanimator for Modern. That's been our bunch of brew for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.